Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Oy'Nissh vlog. It's 2026, and I am here in Scotland. As you can see, the flag behind me. I am in Newbattle. No, yes, Newbattle. So I'll be looking for wild garlic or vuminji. So that's wild garlic or vuminji in Oy'Nissh. So the idea is to see how far the season is regarding wild garlic. I don't expect to see any forageable at the moment. I suppose by the second week in March, I might be able to get nice early bunch of wild garlic or vuminji. But now I'm just going to see if I can see what it's like in this particular area. So I'm making my way through this region here, and early signs of wild garlic. Just at the very entrance, it's amazing that I didn't even have to go far and the wild garlic is already visible. But as you can see, the plants are quite young. I suppose all this area in the next couple of weeks will be filled with the actual plant, and you'll be able to see a much greener um, landscape. Okay, so this is a small region in the Newbattle area. So just going to give you a ground view, a close-up view. And as you can see, wild garlic or vuminji plants, they're quite small at the moment. Not ideal for foraging. They get much larger than this. As you can see right along, there are plants dotted all over as far as the eye can see. And then you've got very small ones, which I imagine that even by late May, you'll be getting some of these nice bunches for stir frying and so forth. This is a nice bunch. It's still small. Right. I'm trying to look for larger plants. I can't see any. Sometimes you might be fortunate to find some larger bunches of wild garlic at this time. It's rare, but sometimes some grow a bit quicker than others. But it's pretty much uniformly grown throughout the season. So you'll see by March, late March, April, large bunches all over, all at the same time. There you go. Yeah, it's everywhere. Look at that. All those wee green bunches are all wild garlic, you know. Wow, look. Let me go along the hillside. Wow. Now, let's check up this region, this patch, right along the hillside, going right up the hill. Let me just make sure I don't drink my eyes out trying to go up the hill. Just look right up the hill. It, you can see all these bunches of vuminji or wild garlic growing. Still early days, but in the next couple of weeks, will be okay for reaping wild garlic for people who live in Newbattle or Dalkeith area. Now look how moist the area is. Apparently, I believe that for good wild garlic growth, you need moist area with no foliage from the autumn leaves that have contributed some of the nutritional content to the soil, and the much rain that we get in Scotland. Just look how rich the soil is, dark, and you can see the leaves and so from last year, autumn leaves. And this is ideal environment for the wild garlic to grow. Let me see. Over that side, look a lot more greener. So I'm going to see how much of it is in that region. And look how tiny these ones are. It is telling you that, as I said, up to May, you'll be getting wild garlic because it means that all aren't fully grown at one go. They come to fruition at different stages throughout the season, throughout spring. Pretty much, wild garlic is a spring vegetable, I believe. You can sometimes find it going into June, but it's rare, very rare. It depends on the location and if the plant started um, coming into season late, because sometimes that happens, maybe because of the weather and how it functions. Sometimes they come in a little later, but it's rare. It's predictable. Wild garlic is predictable in terms of its seasonality. Look at this one. So I've just shown you one area in the Newbattle region, and I'll be going up some steps to another location. And I believe this is a much larger region which you can forage. So I'm going to turn the camera around up the steps. Right. So just to my right, so this is the step. To the right is the Esk River that flows towards the Dalkeith Country Park, and it meets with another river somewhere near that region and flow down to Musselburgh. So it's the S River, but I don't know if it's the North Esk or Southwood, but it's one of those ones. And if we go now up to up these steps, takes us to the next area. That's also a lush region for locusts to forage. I suppose people living in the Newbattle area are S Bank, but also I think possibly Gorebridge and Dalkeith would find this area rich for foraging for wild garlic. But also, it's like a park for recreational walk. It's vast and it's ideal for exercise, walking a dog, etc. So, I'm puffing. So this is the next area, and farmland to my left, and we continue along this path. Ensure that you've whew, ensure you've got a good shoes or um is it woolly? Is it special walking shoes for muddy region? As you can see, it's quite muddy. It's frosty though. It was frozen earlier on, but I think the sun is now melting the ice, so it gets all slushy eventually as people walk along. So you need a good pair of shoes for this. And also make sure it's got good grip, because it can get quite slippery. And you don't want to be rolling off into that region, down into the river. Well, nobody does. They are very careful. Okay. So I am nearing the the other region, the other area of the Newbattle foraging ground. I turn the camera around when I reach nearby, and I think I want to believe that this is a nice area to forage because it's very accessible, and well it's it's a little hilly, but it's gentle slopes that you'll find there, so it's a lot more manageable, and the region is quite vast, so there are loads of options in this one bit. Across the river you also have other foraging grounds for wild garlic or vuminji, but I just stick to this side today. So I'm going through this bit here, and we are now entering into the region that I mentioned earlier on. Even even along here, although this isn't the area I'm talking about, later on you'll be able to see wild garlic pushing up if they haven't started already. Can't see any. They, no, can't see any here. Here we go. There's okay. Here's a little area with wild garlic pushing up. These ones are quite small. This isn't the bit, but even in this area on both sides, you'll be able to find wild garlic a little later. But the other area I'm taking you to, you'll be able to find larger wild garlic at this time of the year. I believe they are a lot larger now than the ones that I've shown you a few seconds ago. So okay, so we are approaching the area. So there's a main road to Gorgie just on my right. You can probably hear the vehicles passing by. Not to Gorgie, Gorebridge. What am I saying? Not Gorgie. I'm on the opposite side of where Gorgie is. Gorgie is in Edinburgh. I'm in Newbattle, and that's Midlothian. Sorry, my bad. Right, here we are. You hear that? The crunching. This was frozen over last night, and it's melting now. Welcome to Scotland. Can feel my toes. Ooh. Okay, early signs of wild garlic. As predicted, these ones are small, but I'm sure there are larger ones, more visible from afar. Let me go down this area and see what's in store. I have to be careful because it can be icy at the same time as slippery, wet. So here we are. Here we go. You see that wee bulb? This bulb. There you go. Wild garlic bulb. So that will be shooting soon. Look, it's everywhere. I'm actually stepping on wild garlic as I go along. The vuminji is everywhere. Wow. Ah, along the hillside too. Ah, gosh, look at that. The entire region, it's just wild garlic. And in about 4 weeks' time, this place will be covered. Chances are you might not be able to see the foliage as you are now, that grayish brown or brownish gray foliage. That will be hidden with all the greenery. I would imagine by 4 weeks' time, that will be the case. 4 or 5 weeks' time, yes. But for now, it's easy to identify the foliage and the small plants growing amidst it. All this foliage, and amidst the foliage are the small plants. Tiny ones, like these, ones that are a lot larger, and just go between here and these ones. Okay, so here's this area that I believe you can find larger plants. Well, so I hope. Let me just put my gloves on. Ooh, it's cold. So, as predicted, everything is coming on nicely. They're not as large as I imagined they would be. Sometimes, it is possible to go into the same area and find patches of land that have a lot more growth or larger plants of this vegetable than other region. But this year, it seems to be uniform with respect to the others that I looked at the entrance to this area. Um, yeah, oh, no, not too bad. They're growing nicely in in their season. All these wee bits. It's everywhere. Yeah, it is everywhere. Let's see if I can get out this way. Fortunately, I'll be stepping on. No, shall let me go down a bit and check a little further down. Just loads of smaller plants. So, yes, so the important thing is getting the wild garlic or the vuminji at the right time because you'll need to have the early harvest for those who live in the area. As I said, there's Gorebridge not far from here, Dalkeith, Newbattle, people all in this region. I'm sure many would come and forage for stuff. I'm hoping that I could get some to forage for later on, maybe next few weeks, and make recipes out of them. So you can follow me my YouTube channel and use some of the tips that I'll put on there so you can use for your home cooking. Um, right. I'm trying to look for a suitable area to go to now. Let me just check. Yes, so few things. Firstly, the wild garlic growing stages. You've got some that will forage earlier than others. So we've seen some larger bunches of the vuminji or wild garlic, right? So our Ramson, they also call it Ramson in the UK. So chances are mid March going into April, you start to get nice bunches. However, the very tiny ones will start to come into play in May. But by the end of May, you'll start to find most of it up and growing and start to flower. And once they start to flower, they get hard. The leaves get hard and they don't taste as nice. And especially if you need to use it for salad, you need them tender. And the earlier the better. So I'm talking about March, mid-March going April. These are the best times to get the wild garlic. But some people, if you want to make salad with very tender leaves, you don't want the leaves to be too big, but you want them to be very thin and tender with that nice garlicky flavor. Sometimes getting these smaller bunches that you see now are ideal. Obviously, most people don't forage for it now. But if you're thinking about very tender leaves for a specific purpose, maybe chefs out there or cooks or people at home, now would be the time to get these small bunches because the leaves are very tender and you don't have to cook them. You can maybe chop it up finely. Obviously, you'd have to wash it and all that. Make sure it's very clean and all that. Dry it off and then chop it up and mix it through with the tuna salad, tuna mayonnaise salad, or your vegan salad, or whatever you're using for your sandwich stuffing. Because the leaves are tender and nice now. Yeah. But if you're talking about stir fry, you're talking about March, April, May. If you're talking about soup, also, this is where it comes into play. And some people would use it to make dressing, um, something similar to pesto. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm going to turn the camera around so we can see the last bit of the area that I need to go through. It's still within the Newbattle area, but I'm going to turn it around so we can look at some other possible sites where I am at the moment. So I'm just carrying on. At the moment, it's just foliage. You notice all you can see is the brownish gray leaves, autumn leaves from last year. In the next few weeks, it will start to look green, greenish brown, as these wild garlic plants start to grow. So let's see if we can go into another region. So let's so down in the ditch, as you can see, there are some more. I don't know if you can see it from here. There's some more wild garlic plants. All those green dots are the wild garlic plants. So, and here's a nice one. So this is an example of very tender leaves. Look at them. See it? So the plant is young now. It's not fully fit because they grow a lot taller to about this height. But I'm talking about if you want to make salad with very tender leaves. Look how tender the leaves are. Very tender. You wash it, dry it, and chop it up in your tuna mayonnaise or something like that. So that's the purpose of the early leaves. And most people don't, as I said, forage for wild garlic for the early leaf. They wait until it's grown. But you can if it's for specific stuff, not necessarily for cooking, you know. Some people do experiment at this time for making soup, yes. But definitely for salads because the leaves are nice and tender. Ooh. Let's go down this bit. Yeah. Okay. Um, Please note, when you forage for stuff, it's important that you take into consideration washing everything thoroughly. Just like when you farm for stuff. No. When farmers sell a vegetable and you buy it at the supermarket, they still have to wash it. So don't be put off by seeing all this foliage and stuff, you know. You just need to make sure you wash your vegetables thoroughly. That's all, and you're good to go. But in line with other areas in this region, you can see that the potential in the next month is going to be awesome. It's going to be great because now you've got many different sites with which you can get this plant, this nice spring summer plant. I wouldn't say summer, maybe early summer. It doesn't really last till summer. Sometimes, but by then they're hard. It's everywhere. Beautiful. Let me see if I can go up that slope. No, we can. Okay. Can you see the greenery? Look, so in this region, let me see that region. Even without going there, you can see the, as it were, that shallow carpet of green. That's the wild garlic coming through. So you know that it's going to be great. And evidence of this, let's go closer and you can see the wild garlic, vuminji or ramson, littered all over the place. Look at that. People walk the dog and one of them, I guess one of the dog was scratching out the plant or just scratching stuff out. I don't think he's scratching stuff out. Maybe. I don't know. But it will grow anyway. These are resilient plants. They're built for this environment. You see the carpet of green, that shallow carpet of green? It's all wild garlic. Part of your five a day. Can you imagine? And it's free for people to forage for, take home and stir fry. So all those health conscious folks in this region near Newbattle, Dalkeith. Well, I don't think people in Dalkeith need to even come this far because you've got loads of areas in Dalkeith for foraging, like the Dalkeith Country Park. That's a vast area and there are options. So they don't even have to come this far. But if so, you can. But mainly in people in Newbattle. Gorebridge, that's another thing because there are other areas in Gorebridge to forage for wild garlic. So I don't think people need to come this far for it. But if you're in the Newbattle area, etc., this is ideal. Look. So nice. Look at this one. Okay, so this pretty much conclude um I would say part one of um foraging in the Newbattle area. This time this vlog is mainly to see how things are coming on. I always do that. Do like a pre-foraging vlog to see how far the growth is and all that. So it's a good sign that the plants are coming into season as predicted. And if all goes well and it doesn't snow, because sometimes that happens, you get snow in March or April and cover all the plants that are growing and destroy them, right? But for now, the sign is good. Ooh, the sign is good that there is wild garlic to be had in this area. All behind me and before me and to either side, there are signs of it. It's everywhere. This place is smelling like garlic. So I see you in the next vlog as I continue to explore other areas. Thanks for watching.